And now for a Times Now exclusive. Documents and a letter trail with Times Now show that the centre has been asked by the Gujarat government to take action against NGOs and a media company being run by controversial activist Teesta Setalvad. The Gujarat government has also directly accused the globally influential American NGO the Ford Foundation, which has funded Teesta Setalvad's NGO as well as her media company. The Ford Foundation says it has complied with the Gujarat police questions. Now, the big question is whether the fight between the Setalvad and the Gujarat government shifts to the centre. Let's look at the story.
For over a decade now, Teesta Setalvad has arguably been among the most high-profile critics of Narendra Modi. And now, she seems to be on an unstoppable collision course with the Gujarat government.
In an unexpected and what appears to be a well-thought-out move, the Gujarat government has not only accused Teesta Setalvad and the NGO that she runs of breaking the rules, but has also made a series of stinging allegations against the very influential America-based Ford Foundation.
ये जो पैसे हैं वो गुजरात सरकार के खिलाफ खर्च हुए। ये पैसे देश की कम्युनल हार्मनी को ख़त्म करने के लिए खर्च किया गया है और विदेशों में भारत के खिलाफ दुष्प्रचार के लिए खर्च किए गए हैं। ये इसके रिपोर्ट में है। गुजरात सरकार ने भारत सरकार को उचित कार्यवाही के लिए ये वहाँ पे सबमिट किया है।
Times Now has accessed the trail of documents which shows that the government in Gujarat is building what it believes is a watertight case against both Teesta Setalvad and Ford Foundation. In its letter to the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Finance, the Gujarat government makes very strong allegations against both Teesta's NGOs and Ford Foundation. Look at the strong words used. This is not just a case of FEMA violations, but also a case of direct interference by a foreign NGO in the internal affairs of the country and abetting communal disharmony in India.
There's an ongoing investigation about the connection between Teesta Setalvad and Javed and the trusts and a company called Sabrang Communication and their receipt of funds from the beginning of this century from Ford Foundation. So that investigation is ongoing. I think prima facie there seems to be a lot of violations of the Foreign Contribution Act, which was passed in 2010 by the Congress government.
Sources in the government say that a case is being built for strong action against both Teesta's NGO, the Sabrang Trust, and the media company Sabrang Communications and Publishing Private Limited.
Teesta is a brave lady. She has single-handedly fought and given justice to all those discriminated people who were victims of the false encounters. And I think this is one of the biggest, I would say, the thorn in the flesh of the BJP government in Gujarat, and to all those who were accused and put in jail in the case of false encounters is Teesta Setalvad. And therefore they are all gunning for her. She is one person who has meticulously kept all accounts, and now they just want to create a hype. They are experts in creating hypes. That she got money from X, Y, Z, whoever, and now planting stories. If there are facts, go ahead. People want to know the facts.
In short, this time the BJP-run Gujarat government is taking on not just Teesta Setalvad, whom the BJP accuses of running a biased anti-Modi agenda, but also her principal donors, the Ford Foundation, whose immense clout in the United States government circles is legendary. Consider some of the specific questions asked by the Gujarat police. How did the Ford Foundation give a grant of $290,000 to a private limited company to address communalism and caste-based discrimination in India, including media strategies. Whether Sabrang Trust and SCPPL are proxy offices of the Ford Foundation that are being cultivated and positioned by the latter with a long-term plan. How can a trust be allowed to seek and secure foreign funds to promote a particular religion and controversially argue that it is for the sake of secular democracy? We have received some queries and correspondence from the Gujarat Police in the last few months. We have cooperated with the Gujarat Police and will continue to do so. While this response is fairly middle of the road, in its letter to the Gujarat Police dated 7th January 2015, the Ford Foundation attaches all details of its dealings with Teesta's NGO and media company. It runs into more than 50 pages, but clearly the Gujarat government and the Gujarat Police are not convinced.
The questions that are being asked is whether the funds that were being collected were used for the correct method and in a correct manner. They were used for the correct objective and in a correct manner. So these are big questions that have been asked of Ms. Teesta Setalvad. It's the subject matter of an ongoing investigation.
So the battle lines are now drawn like never before for a confrontation inside and outside the courts between the Gujarat government and Teesta Setalvad. That the Ford Foundation has been pulled in shows there is political intent to make this a bigger battle between the two sides.